64%.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insights on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Joey Coleman.
And I'm Dan Gingiss, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant.
Ramon Ray is a global keynote speaker, event host and MC, and serial entrepreneur. He is the best-selling author of 4 books, most recently Celebrity CEO, How Entrepreneurs Can Thrive by Building a Community and a Strong Personal Brand, and he was invited to testify at the United States Congress. Welcome to the show, Ramon.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me. Joey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to have a fantastically fun time.
Ramon, you're also going to be playing for a very special organization today. Tell us about it and why does it mean so much to you?
Absolutely, Dan. Listen, Empower, and that's Empower, is a fantastic organization that helps, that trains, that educates young people. They're ideally speaking disadvantaged in some way, economic or otherwise, and trains them in the aspects of technology. So not legal, not accounting, not mindset, not leadership, but in tech. You know, to get our computers and servers and our clouds and all those things working. That's what they do day in and out. And after they train you, they help to find you a job. So kind of a double whammy: education and then economic advancement.
Oh, that sounds fantastic, Ramon. Now that we know who you're going to be playing for, let's get into the game. Today we're going to be playing Think Fast.
In Think Fast, you will have 1 minute to answer 5 experience questions. For each question, you must quickly choose between 2 possible answers. Correct answers given before time runs out are worth 100 points. 5 correct answers will earn you 500 bonus points for a possible score of 1,000 points.
Ramon, are you ready to get started?
Woo! I'm ready. I think so. I'm ready.
He's ready as he's ever going to be, ladies and gentlemen. So, Ramon, all of the questions today are going to be based on a new report from a company called Coveo called the Relevance Report 2021. And there's an e-commerce version and a customer service version. We borrowed from both of them. So I want you to think about companies being relevant in 2021. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, Joey. Give me 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to do 5 questions. Here we go. What percentage of consumers expect online shopping to be equal to or better than the in-store experience? Is it 70% or 90%?
90%.
Okay, question 2. What percentage of customers say they sometimes or always experience a problem while shopping online? Is it 25% or 50%?
50%.
Question number 3, what percentage of customers say they rarely or never complain about an experience, but rather just ghost the company? Is it 44% or 64%?
64%.
Are customers more likely to tell a family member or friend about a positive experience or a negative experience?
Negative.
What percentage of Gen Z customers say they'll abandon a brand if they can't find the information they're looking for themselves? Is it 30% or 50%?
50.
He says with so much confidence.
with confidence, with a gasp of air as the clock is running out. Oh my goodness. Ramon, woo, you made it through. Fantastic job. Let's see how you did. We asked what percentage of consumers expect online shopping to be equal to or better than the in-store experience. You said 90%, and the answer was 90%. Correct.
Yeah.
1 for 1. We're off to a great start. We then asked what percentage of customers say they sometimes or always experience a problem while shopping online. Was it 25% or 50%? You said 50%. And so did the research. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve Harvey.
All righty. We then asked what percentage of customers say they rarely or never complain about an experience, but rather just ghost the company. Now, you hesitated on this one. You weren't quite sure, but you ended up...
I think you also had some indigestion during this one. It sounded like maybe.
There might have been. There was certainly, it was creating an experience for you to think about the answer to this question. You said 64%. But regrettably, it was 44%. You know, a lot of people do leave, but many of them will tell you why they're leaving or complain as they run out the door, but maybe not as many as you would think. All right, we next asked, are customers more likely to tell a family member or friend about a positive experience or a negative experience? Now, this one was interesting because you said negative, when in fact it's the positive experience that folks are really most likely to talk about. Last but not least, we asked what percentage of Gen Z customers say they'll abandon a brand if they can't find the information they're looking for themselves. 30% or 50%? You said 50%. And you finished strong with the correct answer of 50%. Woo, Ramon, lots of crazy relevance in those answers. Let's talk a little bit about it.
I want to go to one of the questions that you answered incorrectly because I am fascinated by it. And it's not just because this is what I love talking about, but it turns out, and this is actually the second study that I've seen, that says that consumers are more willing to talk about positive experiences than negative experiences. The reason why we don't think that, and probably why you got this answer wrong, was because most of the time we hear about negative experiences. And I think the reason for that is that as consumers, we just don't have enough positive experiences to share. We're very willing to share them. We love telling people when we've had an amazing experience. We just don't get them very often. And I'll often, when I'm on stage, I'll survey an audience asking how many remember their last positive experience and their last negative. And very few can recall their last positive experience, which is so sad. But then you say, hey, do you remember the last time you were frustrated by a brand? And every hand in the audience goes up. So now that you know that, think back to your own experiences. And does that sound like that answer now makes more sense to you?
Yes, it totally makes sense because we just don't have enough that wow us. And unfortunately, the handful of 5 famous companies that kind of you all know more, but the ones that most of us business people hear over and over again, the tire went to the clothing store and the shoe retailer and all this, that's the only ones we hear.
What do you think when you have a positive experience or with a brand or a negative experience with a brand, what goes through your head in terms of your desire, whatever that next step is? It might be telling a friend or family about it. It might be leaving a rating or review. You know, do you go to leave the review when it was really good, or do you go to leave a review when it really sucked? How do you, as a consumer, what goes through your head in terms of when you're going to act next?
Yeah, and I don't know if we talked about this in this segment or other segments we've done, but Joey's segment with the video, I think, and if I'm going too long, forgive me, but I think that it's that, at least in my case, but I'm wondering if he had the same thing. You know what? It takes too long to figure it out. In this case, it's only $3. Heck with it. So that kind of thing, you know, depending on, of course, what it is. You know what? The microphone I bought or whatever, only if we're blessed to have that $49, $25. Give it to my kids. I'll just put it on the shelf. It's too much of a hassle to walk back to the store. So that's kind of the thinking, but I think when it's good, that's when it's like, oh, wow. This happened with books. I was buying some books from a mutual friend of ours, John Jantz, right? Duct Tape Marketing, right? And bought some books from Porchlight. Some people listening, one of the book distributor. We ordered the wrong books. We ordered like 1 million copies of his older book. And I'm like, and they're like, no problem. Ship it back. And we're shipped another one at the same time because my event was the next day. So point being, Dan, is that the positive experiences, I think we never forget that, as Joe was able to recount it. So I think that's what it does.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things, Ramon, that I think is interesting, and I'll give a big shout out to you and to Dan as well. You know, my perception is you guys are positive guys. I know you go through life in a very, you know, glasses half full type approach. Let's find the light. Let's find the opportunity here. And I think one of the reasons why the positive stories have a tendency to resonate so much more is that because we're surrounded by so much negative news, so much negative interaction, so much chaos, so much uncertainty, that when we do have something that goes well, we like to reflect on that and talk about it and share that because it lights us up. It contributes to that. You know, one of the things that I find interesting, though, that you alluded to in that comment about kind of the e-commerce being connected to the cash register and so that you felt known, is that this stuff is not rocket science. Yes, it requires effort. Yes, it requires investment. But at the end of the day, I think it's just about people feeling appreciated, feeling that we respect their time, feeling that we respect their money, feeling that we respect their business and the opportunity they're giving to serve them. Could you speak a little bit to that idea of the simple things that can create a remarkable experience?
Yeah, I think part of the simple things is, for example, I ordered a limo just a few weeks ago for a friend coming from the airport. Simple thing, but the limo driver let me text him. He stood by the door. He waited. It was my son coming in from another country. So it's simple joy. You would do this for your family. Dan would do this for his family, but this was no relation. So if that makes sense what I'm saying, it was so simple and basic, but it gave me peace of mind. I'm like, this, Mr. Ray, I have your son in the car. Want to say hello? I'm like, oh, my man, DH2 limo. I love the company. So that's who it was.
You see, that's what happens with positive experiences. You want to tell people. I love it. All right, Joey, let's recap how Ramon did playing Think Fast.
Well, in this game, correct answers are worth 100 points, and Ramon correctly answered 3 questions, which means he earned 300 points. Those points convert into dollars, which means that Ramon has earned a $300 donation to NPower. Congratulations, Ramon.
Well, Joey, thank you, you and Dan. Thank you so much for Avtex. Thank you for having me here, and I know NPower is going to be fantastically happy.
Awesome. Well, Ramon, you have made this so much fun. Thank you so much for being a contestant with us. That concludes this episode of Experience Points. Check out more games with Ramon and our other celebrity contestants at experiencepointsgame.com. That URL again is experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you next time for more remarkable experiences here at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
Well, I think that speaks to the comment, where they said, what percentage of online shoppers, kind of abandon if they can't find what they're looking for. Well, that becomes the sole, functional need is, can I find what I'm looking for, yes or no? It has nothing to do with kind of the rest of the experience. So I think you raised a good point, which is, how do you, beyond finding the product, which is kind of the ante on the table, how else do you create an experience for those online shoppers that's going to be positive and memorable so they'll be willing to talk about it?
Yeah, no, and I think that's the key, right? And it is grounded in that customer understanding, and you really do have to understand the customer in order to craft those experiences. And then it gets more complex because everything's digital, right? And so then you have to have the right orchestration and technology to provide that digital landscape that meets the vision around what you want to provide your consumers.